When we reflect upon the immense dignity that Allah Almighty has bestowed upon woman, as a daughter, a wife, a mother, and an elder, the tragedy becomes starkly visible when we see how this very dignity has often been stripped away and trampled upon by societies driven by lust, greed, and male dominance. Woman, who was created as a source of mercy, comfort, and honor, has too frequently been reduced to an object of amusement, displayed not for her worth as a human being, but for the shallow pleasure of influential men intoxicated with power. History is filled with examples where kings, emperors, and rulers, instead of treating women as partners in dignity, gathered them in palaces and courts as entertainers, singers, dancers, or concubines. In modern times, this exploitation has only changed its form. Women are projected on screens, stages, and advertisements as commodities to sell products, attract audiences, or please men's eyes. The tragedy is not her fault, for she was dignified by Allah, but rather the fault of a world that sees her through the lens of desire and material gain, rather than through the divine command of respect and protection. In many cases, it is not only coercion but also the subtle chains of poverty, inequality, and social neglect that push women into roles of singing, dancing, and even exposing themselves, not as a natural choice, but as a survival strategy in societies where doors of education, empowerment, and respectable work are closed to them. Male-dominated power structures thrive on this imbalance, ensuring that women remain dependent and vulnerable so they can be exploited for the amusement of the powerful. This cycle is reinforced by the influence of wealth, media, and cultural elites who glorify such exploitation under the labels of art, fashion, or freedom, while in truth it is nothing more than a rebranding of objectification. Society cheers when a woman is reduced to the stage or the screen, but remains silent when she is denied education, inheritance, and dignity. Spiritually, the irony is heart-wrenching. Allah raised her station to such heights that paradise was placed beneath her feet as a mother, yet worldly societies drag her down to the marketplace as a product to be consumed. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, commanded men to honor and protect women, declaring that the best of men are those who are best to their wives. Yet the very opposite is often practiced when women are exploited as mere ornaments or instruments of pleasure. This double standard between divine revelation and human corruption reveals the moral decay of those who exploit and the weakness of a society that tolerates such degradation. Deeper reason lies in man's misuse of authority. Instead of seeing leadership as responsibility and protection, many men see it as license and domination. Wealth and influence blind them to justice, making them think women exist for their amusement. But in truth, every man will be accountable before Allah for how he treated the women under his care, his wife, his daughter, his sister, his mother, or any woman whose dignity he either protected or violated. The Quran reminds us, indeed Allah commands you to render trusts to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice. Surah An-Nisa 4:58. Woman is a trust from Allah, and failing to protect her dignity is betrayal of that trust. Thus, the fault is not in woman, who was dignified by Allah and created as a source of mercy, but in the arrogance of men who reduce her to a temporary amusement, the negligence of societies that deny her opportunities, and the greed of elites who profit from her objectification. This duality calls for deep reflection. Either we uphold the divine command and honor her as the gateway to paradise, or we continue to degrade her and risk the anger of Allah. The choice is ours as men, as societies, and as believers, to either be protectors of women's dignity or the very hands that destroy it. Islamic references, and we have certainly honored the children of Adam. Surah Al-Isra 1770, and live with them in kindness. Surah An-Nisa 4:19. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The best of you are those who are best to their wives." Tirmidhi. He also said, "Paradise lies under the feet of mothers." An-Nasa'i, Ahmad.